Hey guys, welcome back. All right, so let's take a little peek here. We're going to see what is the message for today's topic for the 10th, but we'll also do one for the 11th because I'd like to get us back on track. So in honor of the 10th being that full moon, that buck moon, we are going to start with a moon card, and we have clairvoyance, inspiration, interpretation, and trust, card 35. Ooh, this is exciting. Okay, so first off, and where I am, we're not quite rolled into the 10th yet. I know there's other, areas, different time zones that are already, rocking the 10th, but I am just not there yet. Okay. Here's hoping that two buffers will be the charm. I don't really know why YouTube is struggling with me. This has been a kind of a new thing that's gone on for the last several months, and it's intermittent, but here we are. So in any case, I'm hopeful that everything will stay nice and smooth and you guys won't have it freeze frame on you anymore. But as we get into this full moon, and the full moon, of course, is about, bringing things from the subconscious to the surface, releasing them. Only in this case, it kind of looks like the message for the 10th is going to be to bring things from the subconscious into the conscious awareness. Now, it has something to do with 10 of Swords being sideways. Here it talks about endings that either were murky or it's like, I wasn't sure if I should let that go. She's sitting here scrying. So kind of like basically like looking into a crystal ball, only, instead of using that, she's just using a pan of water. But it feels like on the 10th, we may have like heightened intuition. We may have somebody, 3 of coins, who's recognizing that, hi everybody, recognizing that there's one way or another that things can go. Some people won't remain in our character's life, right? Other relationships are going to like get way stronger. I feel like we have a changing of the guards is the way I would say this. You guys do let me know. I see some of you are saying that it's still bumpy. Is it still bumpy, or are things smoothing out in the audio and visuals for you guys? Because it's totally smooth on my end. But I'm thinking this might be a bit of a YouTube update or something that we're smack dab in the middle of. There's baby bumps. Okay. If this is too, disruptive, then maybe I'll have to wait until tomorrow, but we'll try to push on through. Okay. So some of you it's smooth, some of you it's not. Okay. All right. Awesome. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. How interesting. Some of you have it perfect, and then some of you are really struggling. I'm so sorry about that, guys. It'll probably clear up if you come back and watch this later. It'll have like fully processed. But if we have a character who is gently being encouraged, like listen to the intuition, pay attention to the intuition that's coming up, because as that intuition kicks in and there's like a changing of the guards, certain relationships are probably done and over. Other relationships are just starting to get good. And I feel like our character, there's nothing about a loss. It's about shifting. So let's say, because of the 3 Pentacles, that's why I say it's like relationships. But let's say we'll use a non-romantic example. Let's say we have a character who, has a restaurant, and they have like a group of people who come in faithfully every Saturday night. It's like a club, a car club, who comes in and eats there every Saturday night. But they've been doing that for 6 months. And then that car club decides that they're going to disband. And so the big group doesn't come in anymore. But in their place, there's, a new group of people. There's a church group that comes in on Sunday morning. And that becomes a regular routine. And it's like sometimes relationships end and other ones begin, but it's just a changing of the guards. It's not, and there will be something of benefit with any one of those different relationships, right? You'll meet great people in any group. You'll meet great people in life. If you hung out with one group of friends a ton and then your work schedule's different and you can't hang out with that same group of friends, maybe now you hang out with your colleagues because you work weird swing shifts. You get off at 3:30 in the morning or something, and so now you go to breakfast with your friends, your colleagues at 3:30 in the morning because your other friends are fast asleep in bed. There's just things that change in life sometimes for us. We have a Queen of Wands, and she's upright. She's kind of like, what? What do you mean everything's changing? What? I didn't ask for this, and I'm used to getting what I ask for. Yes, but sometimes the stuff that we ask for comes to us in funny little packages. The universe heard what we wanted. The universe is delivering. So I feel like she's aware that some things are changing, but she wasn't expecting. Look, she might not have been expecting herself to be this really hot commodity. This is our sexiest queen. So we could have, on the 10th, during this full moon, we could have a character, possibly a divine feminine specifically, who is realizing that, I don't know what just happened, but somebody I thought I was going to date or something, they kind of have drifted away. And I kind of think that we're not getting back together. But this person who, I don't know, they're always outside gardening next door to me. We've started to converse, and I can't believe this, but I'm feeling all kinds of flutters, and they're really attracted to me. And in fact, they're making me feel a heck of a lot more special than my old partner did, that I realize I think I'm done with that old partner, but I can't believe it because it wasn't official. It wasn't like, it was not even necessarily that I knew I was going to feel this way. Sometimes endings are a little bit murky, and new beginnings can be a little bit murky. Little kids can become friends like that, right? Adults that become friends or that become attracted to each other, it can be a lightning moment, but it can also be, when did we stop being neighbors and start becoming people that were attracted to each other? When did I stop thinking about my ex and now I think about you instead? When did I stop feeling like unseen and now I feel super sexy because you're noticing me? When did this happen? And it's like, oh, it's been going on for a while. Or this is somebody having the premonition, because it is clairvoyance, but also inspiration, interpretation, and trust is all part of this this storyline. So I would just say, maybe this is somebody who's like understanding or getting this. I mean, it could be like a prophetic dream or something that our character is, recognizing these things are about to happen, or that they're in the midst of it without realizing it. That's the kind of the funny part, is like, I'm realizing that sexy next door neighbor who's always out there gardening, who's like, hey, do you want whatever? Some of my, never mind. Anything I say is going to sound like a double entendre. I was going to say, do you want some of my cucumber? And then I was like, no. Zucchini. No. Eggplant. No. And I'm like, God, what can I say? So forgive me for the double entendre. That was totally unexpected. I did not mean to do that, but yes, we'll move on from that. So we have a 9 of Wands in the reverse. This 9 of Wands is like the release of any like hurts, burdens, the wounded warrior, that I wonder if she thought she was going to take a long time to get over an ending, only to discover this is so much easier than I thought. I never realized that something that I imagined, like, wow, if this relationship that I'm in ends, or if we don't get back together, I'm probably going to have to really work through this. And instead it's like, this doesn't even hurt. I'm so surprised. Is it because I'm meeting somebody new? Yes, but it's not like this somebody new is a distraction. It's that there's more than one, like relationship that is going to be fulfilling in our life. There's more than one person maybe we're supposed to interact with. There's more than one lifestyle we get to live in this life. And I just kind of feel like this is a natural shift, because something else was already technically over. I love the fact that the release of hurt and pain, and the surprise that it's not a painful ending, is what we're really talking about for this full moon. We have a 5 of Wands. She doesn't seem to be struggling, but it could very well be that she feels differently about this than the person she's kind of leaving behind, because this is somebody thinking very heavily about it, thinking about where they go next. So this could be the individual that she's surprisingly over all of a sudden, somebody that our Queen of Wands used to love or used to have a relationship with, and they maybe are doing some deep reflection on this ending. So we have a King of Swords sideways. I would definitely say, especially since this card is like split in half, I would say that she probably has gotten over a King of Swords and he has not gotten over her. And he can't quite put his finger on, I didn't know I was going to feel like this when things ended, which is so crazy because she didn't know she'd feel so much lighter and brighter. I'm sorry, I feel like I have mascara in my eye. She didn't know she'd feel lighter and brighter. He didn't know that he would wind up feeling a little lost. If you look closely, he's got this, suit jacket on that has a map on it. And he's out here in this dry desert. And he's like going over and over in his head. I thought it would be easy to move on. It's not. Well, she's going, I thought it'd be really hard to move on, but it's totally not. So two people are experiencing a very different energy of letting go. It's not so easy. Let me just ask, why is it not so easy for him? King of Coins. Oh, because he's like, because who's going to be loving her now? This could be, remember, he's sideways. So there is a little bit of karmic energy. There is maybe a little bit of territorialism. There is a little bit of, wait a second, we're parting ways. She's going to be in somebody else's arms. There's going to be, and I think he immediately is like, oh, some joker, some fool, because it's like this king is kind of a goofy looking king. Oh, I don't know why. He looks like a court jester. And I never understood why they did that on a King of Coins card. But now in this storyline, it makes perfect sense because he's kind of a little bit obsessed with, she was mine, but she's going to be somebody else's lover. And you know what? I already don't like him. He's a fool. And it's like, first off, you don't even know if she's with anybody. You definitely don't have any business calling some other king a fool that you don't know from Adam. It probably has a lollipop. This looks like such a weird, like one of those little kid, like lollipops, that's all swirly. It just feels really goofy. He's going to be a clown. He's going to be a joker. I definitely feel territorial and coming off of him. And I'm wondering if he's surprised. We've got this Princess of Swords in the reverse. He's like, I can't look. I can't watch. I don't want to see her get with somebody else. I don't want to know when she's with somebody else. Okay. Well, you can say that all day long, but it looks like you're pretty damned obsessed about it. In fact, all you're thinking about is she's going to be with somebody else. I don't want to know. I don't want to know that she's with somebody else. Oh, I bet he's this. I bet he's that. I don't want to see. I don't want to know. But you're thinking around and around and around about it. So not such an easy letting go for this other character. Now, let me just go back here and ask, does she have some sense of that? Or is it, I don't know. Oh gosh, that song, there's a country song, Don't Tell Me What to Do. You've already said that we are through. I'm a page that you have turned. I'm no longer your concern, so don't tell me what to do. Although in that she says, I'll love you forever if I want to. So it is her saying, I'm not letting you go. But it's just, that's not the part of the song that was coming to mind. Sorry, I had to sing the lyrics all the way through my head until I got to that. That's the gist of the song. I was just hearing, don't tell me what to do. On her side, we actually have the Lovers. I think she assumed that he already had other lovers or something, that like we've been broken up kind of. I think he's not coming back to me. Wow, actually, I can totally fathom that. I think he's done. I think he's moved on. But it's weird because if she has this spark of clairvoyancy, even though she's like, you know what, it's over, it's done. And actually there's somebody new I'd like to, perhaps engage with. She may be getting this bizarre, like subconscious hit on the 10th that this King of Swords that she believes has other people in his life is suddenly possibly going to be jealous. You notice that she pictures him standing out there, like holding out his hand, like, hey, you're supposed to still be with me. Yeah. I have these other women, that are texting me, calling me that I'm dating, but you're supposed to still be mine. It's weird because it is like she's spot on. She's only surprised by her own reaction that I'm ready for a different lover. And actually it doesn't hurt to let this other one go. I'm not even distressed about it. I didn't know I'd feel so sexy. So maybe he wasn't very good for her self-esteem. But it's weird because with that clairvoyance card, we see on the 10th, she may be getting the vibe that like, for some reason, he's the one who's having a hard time getting over me. Even if he's got other people, he still wants me. She may just be picking up on a territorialism that she didn't identify in him before. I really get this vibe that we may have a situation, and please bear in mind, this could be masculines, feminines, same-sex couples, reverse gender roles, does not matter. But she may just now becoming a little bit clear on what the dynamics were between herself and him. Maybe she never felt that attractive. She feels more sexy now that he's not in her life. But what's ironic is if he thought he's going to be fine without her, now he's like, oh my God, no, I want her. Yeah, I know there's all these other women, but I only want her. I definitely don't want to think about her with somebody else. What I'm thinking is he definitely had a way to make her like feel devalued and not sexy. She feels better without him around, but he's the one who's like obsessed with her, which is just a very interesting, like twist. And keep in mind, the moon is what hides things. The moon can also be what illuminates things. The moon brings things from the subconscious to the surface. So we're seeing in the subconscious, he's deeply jealous of the idea of her with anybody else. He wants her more than he wants others, but I don't think that they were good together. And I don't think he did anything to keep this relationship going. And she's better off feeling better about herself now that this is over. So I definitely don't think this was a nice relationship, but it's almost like both people are kind of having these big realizations on the 10th about something that's already over, but they're kind of like, whoa, this is so crazy. I feel great. My next door neighbor's hot and giving me his vegetables. And my ex, I think they were kind of crazy about me controlling, but they sure didn't make me feel very sexy. But it's so weird because I feel like they're wanting me now. Is the ex saying something, doing something? Is this King of Swords saying or doing something, or is this just a feeling? We have a 3 of Wands. I don't know. She's topless over here with a whole lot of arms. The 3 of Wands is usually about the future, but it's also about passion. And I think all of this, remember, we're dealing kind of with past, present, and future in this, right? Because this is the message for the 10th, but we have clairvoyance, which kind of like predicts things. And then we're talking about the future, but then we're also bringing up all these things from the past and these breakthroughs. So this is a weird message for like a full moon day, because everything is, I can't separate, because it's all past, present, future, all mushed into one. It's thinking about the past, being shocked about how they feel in the present, sensing what's happening next. I do feel like at some point she'll probably hear from this ex who, even though he's saying, I don't want to know when she's with somebody else, but she's going to be with somebody else and he's going to be a clown, all of that. I'm sensing a drunk dial somewhere in the future, like in the next 3 months, or maybe sooner, maybe the next 3 weeks. Could be when she gets out of the shower. It's like she's got no top on. She might be getting dressed or, something like that. Have a towel wrapped around the waist. That's just what that card looks like to me. She may live in an upstairs apartment building, something. It's the like fire escape ladder or something off of a balcony or something. But just a weird side note there. She may not be very good at remembering to close her blinds either. I'm sorry, but that card makes it look like she's in front of an open window. There's like a fire escape. She's getting dressed. She's not thinking about, like, especially in the evening, things can be very backlit. So be mindful of closing your blinds and keep your privacy. Can we go back over here to that 3 of coins real quick for her? Because that's the new lover, Tower. This new person could potentially be an Aries, but I think, again, she's just stunned that she could be so attracted to somebody else entirely different. 6 of Wands, she keeps being shocked that she feels so sexy. Maybe that's why she's topless over there. Maybe she's strutting her stuff. Maybe she's like, I don't care. I look awesome. This new hottie tells me that. They like me just fine. There's very like phallic energy with this new person. And then we have the moon and the sun on either side of this tower. So definitely like divine counterparts. But with that 6 of Wands, again, this is her feeling freaking amazing. Look, this ending is nothing like she expected it would be. Accepting that a relationship is truly over for her liberates her, makes her feel amazing. It almost feels like she never knew she could feel this attractive. And it's like, man, I've been missing out. I don't feel like she's got any hint of, cycling through anything else with that ex again, even though she may hear from them again someday in the future. That's what that looks like to me. Okay, let's go ahead and end this one here, and let's go to the message for the 11th. And then I'll pull a card for birthdays for each of those days at the end here. Okay, I want to go with this deck. All right, so message for the 11th. Here we go. We have got the 8 of Pentacles, and we got the Devil kind of at a jaunty angle, but mostly in the reverse. So somebody's been working on vanquishing their fears. The Devil, they've been working on themselves. Songs in my head. Ooh, she's a devil. She's a bad little bitch and she's a rebel. We get the Hierophant in the reverse and the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. This looks like we have possibly on the 11th, maybe a divine masculine who's working on either no longer being obsessed with someone, a Queen of Pentacles that he views as a karmic, or he's getting beyond a worry or a fear in regards to something. Here's the thing, that Hierophant in the reverse throws this all cattywampus. Something's not adding up. It doesn't read clearly. It says he's got 2 different things, one of which might be untrue. So claiming that I'm working on getting over this toxic karmic Queen of Pentacles, that's one thing. But the Hierophant in the reverse, unless he's saying I'm, working on getting over this person, I divorced them and I'm good with that. But otherwise, the Hierophant in the reverse can be somebody who's not actually listening to their higher self. 9 of Wands sideways. Hang on. Wounded energy, the Moon. It's funny because this is, for the 11th, which is after the full moon, but of course the full moon energy still kind of spans a couple days. So I don't know. This is making me think somebody's not looking at things very truthfully somehow. We got that 6 of Wands now. I'm wondering if he does not know that she's doing really, really well. He's seeing it through his lens. I'm working on getting over the person that I have dubbed my karmic. I am no longer held captive by her, whatever, her beauty, her demands, her, however, it does feel like he kind of vilified this person. I'm not stuck on my karmic anymore. I hope she goes and heals. But what he doesn't know is that she's over here as the 6 of Wands. She's rocking it. She's doing great. So I'm not really sure. Is this, there's your side, my side, and then there's the truth, right? In any situation, there's how 2 people see a scenario, and then there's the reality of what it actually was. So let me just ask, 8 of Pentacles, gentlemen, what are you doing? You're saying Knight of Wands, World card. Working on yourself to get back to being a player and having a new beginning where you can date anybody and everybody. I don't know how that is you breaking away from a karmic. What's the deal with this? Tell me about the karmic. 7 of Pentacles. It's taken me a long time. He may think that she ruled his mind for too long. Hanged Man. Yeah, he didn't know what to do about her. I think, so I kind of have this vibe that we may have a character, and we'll say him, okay, because we've seen him come across a couple times as for the longest time, she has eaten up my mind. She's made it impossible for me to go out and date other people. She has been the person that I couldn't get over. So she must be, since I've been going nuts about her, staying on my mind for all this time. She must be karmic, right? She's no good. And I'm getting over her. And that's why she stayed on my mind all this time, because she was my karmic. See, that's how that was. I'm thinking that might not be true. Yeah, we got a Queen of Cups. He knows better, but she loved me. She loved me a lot. She was actually really, really nice. but I got to say that she's my karmic and I'm working on getting over her because she was bad. And I'm vanquishing the devil by forgetting about her. And I'm going to have this new life and I'm going to go sleep around and my life's going to be great because, man, I've been hooked on her for so long because, you know, she's my karmic. But God, she loved me and she was really sweet. See, none of this tracks. I bet she's, you know, she's probably the one who's been wounded and she needs to heal. But what he doesn't know is she's out. So let me just ask, universe, who is she? Is she some karmic individual that he had to overcome? Three of Swords. She is somebody that was actually devastated and heartbroken. Okay. Ace of Wands. She's somebody who's very passionate. How does she feel about him? Hang on. Seven of Pentacles and the World. So she, I think, would have wanted a long-term relationship with him, maybe even wanted a new beginning with him for a very long time. Okay, hang on. Universe, can we see from the higher perspective, who is he in all of this? Let's go with this deck. Who is he in all this? Because I do feel like this is one of those stories where it's like his side, her side, and the truth. 10 of Pentacles. Okay, well, that looks great. He was somebody who wanted victory. He wanted to share his energy. He wanted to be in a relationship. 4 of Swords in the reverse. This says he didn't try to like hold back or anything. Page of Cups. That doesn't 100% track because this says I was all about it. I wasn't trying to hold back, but then I only gave a page's amount of energy. A page doesn't do a 10 of Pentacles. So hang on, universe, help me understand that. That or he owed some kind of an apology. Hierophant. I wanted to have it. Oh, wait a minute. Was he married to somebody else at the same time? Because this can be family. This can be marriage. And this can be the other lover that he gave minimal effort to. Hold on. Is he saying, hey, I'm not married anymore. I'm done with that. And I'm not stuck on that Queen of Pentacles, my karmic side dish. Is he trying to say I'm no longer toxic? The universe, there was family here. He wasn't really thinking very deep about this, or he didn't feel like there was anything wrong with this. But then we had this weird side dish, and then we have a marriage. So this is weird. Can I get one more? Okay, we got a couple more. We got a 4 of Cups, kind of at a crooked angle. We got the 2 of Swords. Oh, this is compartmentalizing. And we got the High Priestess. Okay, so there's something here about... On the 11th, we have somebody telling themselves quite the whopper of a story. Somebody who is saying, I'm so awesome. I'm over my marriage and the side dish lover. I don't have to feel guilty about any of this. I compartmentalized it and I'm good. And even if I know better, even if I know this wasn't okay, I just block it and I put it in a separate container and I don't have to feel guilty. Because those two were two different situations. And anyway, neither is a part of my life. So it's all fine. I vanquished the devil and now I'm ready to have a new chapter. And the thing is, and this is the other thing that made me really suspicious. You're working so hard, but your new chapter is going to be possibly to go out and be a player. And I don't usually associate that with the World card. You know, my new beginning is I'm going to go out and, mess about, kind of run amok. Usually the World card is like, I'm mindful, I have wisdom, I have done this incredible growth. But instead it's like, no, my goal is to forget about and kind of avoid, I think, feeling bad about something. That's the way they think they're vanquishing the devil, by vilifying other connections when they seem to have had two connections at the same time. And they compartmentalize that. They're making it so they don't have to feel guilty. And that is the way they're handling things. This is probably the most complicated situation, because nothing is what it seems in this. literally nothing. So can we just go over here? Because we know that this Queen of Pentacles, who they said was their karmic, she was actually devastated. She was brokenhearted. She had waited, I think, quite a while, or wanted a long-term connection. Maybe she waited for them to get divorced. Maybe they implied they were going to. There was great passion here. We're going to have a new beginning. I waited for nothing. They never actually ended up with me. Now she seems to be, unbeknownst to them, doing very, very well. How are you doing so well now? Let me just ask. I mean, I'm pleased that she's doing well, but on the 11th in particular, it says you're doing really well. Page of Pentacles, Nine of Wands. The Page of Pentacles, and here she is sitting by the big old moon. It's kind of like, you know, I've talked myself through most of it. And if there are some things that still pop up from time to time in my subconscious, you know, that's all right. I feel like she spent a lot of time by herself thinking about things. I feel like if anybody kind of had to get, you know, over the toxicity of something, I'm kind of thinking it was more her than him, but he's written himself this whole story about how it was. God, she still comes up with this, you know, she's made peace with the Three of Swords. She's made peace with the situation. And I'm wondering if the way she did this is to say, you know what, maybe he was a very shattered person. Maybe he was a very lonely person. Maybe, you know, to understand why somebody did what they did. I try to walk in their shoes because her boots are really noticeable to me. I'll never really know, but I'm going to tell myself this story that's going to help me get beyond this. And I'm going to assume he was heartbroken and devastated. And maybe that's why he devastated me. If I waited for him thinking, you know, he was so passionate about me, we were going to have this new beginning. He was starting his life over with me, but then he never did. Maybe he was a very broken person. You know what? I was brokenhearted by him, but maybe he was brokenhearted when I met him by something else. If that's how she's made peace with this has helped her to move on and like reclaim her like Six of Wands energy, because she is doing great. So I can't see how she would still be heartbroken, but now to see him on the card, that makes a lot more sense. She's tried to like talk herself through someone else's motivation for why he did what he did. I do feel like she must have had an inkling that he was passionate about her, but needed to have a new beginning to be with her. She waited a long time. So I'm guessing she might have even known that maybe he was in some of their connections, something like that. It's a moot point now because she's made the decision in her own head to like make peace with this, even though I think she had very limited. And there she is. Look, you find peace the way you need to. You try to not carry bitterness, instead compassion, like maybe he was a tragic character. Whatever this is, I need to let this go, and I don't wish him ill. And if he was hurt already and struggling, then the best I can do is say, I loved him, I wish him well. And then that allowed her to move on, because we got the Wheel of Fortune and the Fool card for her. So we definitely see her energy is so much better and brighter. Now, I have to say in this storyline, though, it kind of looks like he's told himself some whopper of lies, but what does that mean for him on the 11th? Let me just see, because I don't get what this is all for, right? We're seeing two vastly different storylines about what actually went down, what actually happened. So what is the big message for him on the 11th or about him? King of Swords. Maybe he's going to start to have like a little bit of a truth bomb. He's going to have to look at the reality of some things. And you notice how he's digging a hole in the ocean that's not going to work so good. We got the Eight of Wands. That is usually fast-moving action, thoughts, communication. Prince of Cups. So wait a second. You're coming to some kind of a conclusion, but we've seen you only continuously saying, she was my karmic. The person I was married to was my karmic, blah, blah, blah. Like he's told himself all these stories, but now it says he maybe is having that coming to Jesus moment of truth and clarity about his own actions. that he dug himself a hole in the ocean, which is impossible to do. You didn't get anywhere with that. And this could be more like the realization of what I should have done, what I didn't do. I should have, maybe gone in a particular direction. I should have chosen who I was going to build with, have a family with. I don't know if this is too little too late, and it's just that realization. I wouldn't read this in a negative, except, like the regret of what I should have done, could have done, except you can't dig a hole in the ocean. So you can't dig a hole in water. So I'm feeling like he is going to have that coming to Jesus moment on the 11th, that all of this compartmentalizing stuff, telling yourself a whole different story, imagining that, somebody was your karmic and you've been working on getting over them. I'm almost thinking he's realizing none of that was true. Okay, then universe, what's the message for her on the 11th? 3 of Sacred Circles. So if she's, we've already seen that she's like ready for some different energy in her life. She's ready to take a leap of faith. She's made peace with this in the way she needed to, even if she didn't tell herself a very true story about what happened. She made peace with it so she could move on. And the Wheel of Fortune says she has. So she may be about to meet somebody new on the 11th. This could be, 3 of Pentacles, and you notice that the clouds are shaping as the bear and the eagle, and it's like two new individuals are about to cross paths. It's a bear and the eagle here in this little snow hut. Hey, for all I know, she's going to meet somebody if she's traveling, stopping at a hotel, and she meets somebody, checking into their own hotel room. And it's like, oh, how weird. Here we are at the same place at the same time. How serendipitous is that? The Wheel of Fortune can bring in almost anything when the divine timing is right. It's just kind of one of those moments where we thought the story was one thing, only to see there were some things hidden that I think are going to be more illuminated, possibly for both people. It is not at all a storyline that was easy for me to track, to be honest. It's never easy when characters are telling stories that aren't real. She was trying to make peace with something without having real facts. She gave him a lot of passes, a lot of, like, okay, I'm going to imagine that maybe he was really brokenhearted. Maybe he wanted to be alone. Maybe he wasn't married with somebody else and then decided to compartmentalize, and then decided that too was too difficult and never came toward me. Maybe he's been by himself all this time and he's a tragic character. My God, I hope that he's okay. He didn't want to come toward me. I accept that. And I never knew what his story was, but I can accept, and I wish him well. And I'll go ahead and move forward, and I won't be too heartbroken anymore. That's how she made peace with this. And that's not what we saw in the story at all. But I think it's great that she made peace with it in a way that she could find like kindness in her heart, so she could let this go, and it helped her to heal. Sometimes it doesn't have to be true. Sometimes we don't need the real answer to be able to let ourselves move on, to let ourselves heal, to let ourselves envision, maybe it was this, maybe it was that. If I'm not, then why don't I give myself the most compassionate viewpoint so that it'll allow me to be the bigger person, and then I can let go. I think that's actually kind of a lovely, we could still say, well, but you don't know if that's even true. Who cares? It made her a better person. It helped her move on. Who cares if that was true or not? How awesome is it that she could envision, maybe I need to send him compassion and I wish him well, and I shouldn't be mad or hurt. The net result is still awesome because she healed, she moved on, and she's good. And then the message for him is kind of like the reflection energy. The reality check might be coming in a little bit, because he certainly was telling himself a different story where everybody was a villain but him. And at the end of it, it's a little bit like he's getting that reality check and saying, I've been digging a hole in the ocean. Nothing that I've done is actually making me happier, because in truth, that Queen of Pentacles that I vilified was actually Queen of Cups who loved me. And why didn't I just choose that relationship? I don't know that there's an element of him getting a second chance to come back around. We didn't see that in this at all. We just saw kind of like the cold hard truth maybe that he's being faced with, but then the kind of like happy lies that she's told herself to allow herself to move on. I think that's an interesting story for sure. Interesting dynamics of how the truth can be helpful, and so too can lies, depending on the scenario. interesting to play around with that. All right, let's go ahead and pull a birthday card for, first off, somebody whose birthday would be on the 10th, and then we'll do the 11th. Just out of reach. That's awesome. Happy birthday, almost. All right, so for the 10th, we have got the Nine of Cups. It is in the reverse. This says somebody might not be overindulging. The Nine of Cups can be drinking too much, eating too much, partying a little too much. And this could be somebody who's like, yeah, I'm going to keep it in check. Why? Because I love myself. Instead of doing something that is overindulgent that could actually, I'll use myself as an example. I do not drink hardly at all. It just doesn't agree much with my body. I always wind up like feeling really inflamed. I don't like the way I feel. And so much. So it is kind of like an act of love, because like I prefer to like not have a bloated face the next day, and just, I don't know, even just a little tiny bit impacts me a lot. So it's more, it's like actually my body feels better if I don't. So that sometimes is what we choose. I don't need to indulge in something that doesn't feel good, because I love myself so much that I'm going to definitely make sure I do what is genuinely in my greatest and highest good. And I feel like if a character starts looking at any of their choices in life like that, that could help them to weed out all kinds of things really easily, including people, like people where it's like, well, I've had fun with that person before, but honestly, they're always kind of drama filled and it drags me down and I'm exhausted. So maybe I'm going to choose what's right for me, because I love me. I love my life. I love happiness. I'm going to do what's good for me. I'm going to love myself enough not to overindulge. Or I'm going to say, no, I choose self love over somebody who is constantly just all about themselves. I kind of think that we have a character who has learned, if we have people in our lives that are all about themselves, that selfishness can be their undoing also. And it's certainly not a good time for us to be around somebody that selfish. So why don't we choose like a healthier version of self-love? That's what that looks like. So very nice. All right, and then let's go to the 11th. 11th, and I think we're going to go with this deck. I want a really colorful decks for the 10th and the 11th. All right, we have got the Devil and we got the Chariot. Somebody's moving on from anything toxic. I actually love this Devil card because his floofy outfit, I feel like, like Prince and his ruffles and stuff. So I always love this card because it makes me think of like Prince music. Prince is so talented. But it just feels like we have this kind of goofy, happy devil over here in his flounces of rainbow colors that I have a hard time thinking he's like the big scary. But nonetheless, it is a great time this year to move away from anything that has any element of like, it doesn't even have to be toxic exactly, but things that are just a little bit too much, right? That shirt, let's be honest, the shirt is too much. Now, I kind of dig the too much, but I can't say that's like standard attire, right? That looks like a costume piece. So something doesn't have to be devil and oh bad and evil to still say I want to move away from it. Sometimes it can just be a little too much. That's not the outfit I'm going to choose to wear for daily wearing. It's too much. I can go for a more sleek look, a more, refined look. The reason I'm making this so lighthearted, even though this is big, right? This is two major arcana. So if this is the energy for the upcoming year for a character, it's super powerful because they're saying, I could even literally picture somebody refining the way they do things, the way they look, the way their wardrobe is, the direction that they go in life, the kinds of things that they choose to, welcome into their lives. I feel like we have a character who's very cognizant that they are in charge. They don't have to let anybody come in and waste their time. They don't have to allow anybody else's, drama to become theirs. And I think they're realizing throughout this next year that there's diplomatic ways to close things down. Let people be who they want to be, but we can also say, and I can be who I want to be, and I want to be over there, and you want to be here in your ruffled shirt. That is totally cool. but I'm actually going to go ahead and do my own thing. I don't think that this is about like, oh, I have to run away from the devil. I just think this is about like personal choice. Let them be who they want to be. And then I can choose what I want to choose as well. There's a huge sense of like, I don't have to ask permission to move in the direction that's right for me. And you do not need to do what I think is right either. You can stay just who you are and I can move along. And I just think that our character is like, it's very much about personal freedom and free will, but it comes with, I'm going to be very comfortable moving forward and not having to stress out that, oh gosh, I should have helped you. I should have taught you. I should have told you don't wear that shirt. I don't think our character has to do that. All right, I'm going to leave this here. You guys, thanks so much. Oh my God, this got so long. Seed time. Hey, hey. And just out of reach again, happy birthday, sweetie. Caitlin B. Helen, wonderful to see you. Georgina Hoyle. Hi, Carol. Thank you, hun. Thank you for being here. Oh, Ava J, thank you. So good to see you. I'm so honored you're here. And you just made my heart so warm. I can't believe you waited to say hi to me. That's so sweet. Thank you. You just made my night. RT. See time, I'm delighted you made it for another live. Rakai Lancaster. Vivan Hun, nice to see you tonight. Hi, Carrie Southard. Holly Stoker. Margot Lynn. Gabriella Ramondo. Ginger Montague. The Queen Bee, thank you, sweetheart. San Juanita. Thank you again, Astrid Noid. Tammy Johnson. Timmy Secord. Cheryl Johnson. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. Crystal Pixley, great to see you. Hi, Christina 111. Yes. San Juanita, that's awesome. You'll have to tell me what you think about those particular jalapeno cheese puffs. I think they're the best on the market myself. That is not a plug for any company. It was just we're talking cheese puffs tonight, guys. And, guilty pleasures, right? I do love me some cheese puffs. I'm not really like a chip eater, except for cheese puffs. But I'm very particular about which ones I like. Holly Embry, great to see you. Nikki, oh, thank you again, hun. And thank you guys so much for giving me the feedback. I'm glad that it sounds like the video smoothed out. Mad Hatter, hi, hun. I haven't said hi to you in ages. Rhonda Walton, yeah, right? The solar flares, no doubt. Karen Bishop, wonderful to see you, Karen. TK Dadon Kelly. TK Dadon Kelly. I don't know why I think your name is so fun to say. I just love that. Nikki O and Lagos Sia Bridge. Thank you for being here, beauty. Hi, Lulu. Rare Lestrange. Awesome to see you again tonight. All right, everybody. Mermaid Tales. Hi. All right, you guys. I will see you early in the morning. We'll post a video that comes out at 5 a.m. And then I will see you guys probably quite early tomorrow in general, because we've got to get all the zodiacs wrapped up for the full moon message, because the full moon is tomorrow. Well, technically today, since we are now at 12:23 a.m. where I'm at. So happy full moon, you guys. I think it peaks at like, oh gosh, I think it was like 4:20 something Eastern Standard Time in the afternoon, I think is what I remember reading for this particular full moon. So we've got some hours. So I'd like to get all of the zodiacs out before that would come around. So, all right, you guys, lots of love. Bye for now.